I know. You can see me, and I can't see you. Gotta put the chat window up because I don't have my other devices in here. So, um, snowy day. It's always pretty when we have a snowy day. I think I got a blood clot in my right leg. Swollen, painful. Nothing they can do about it, so I don't go to the hospital. So, um, really isn't anything that can be done because I got blood thinners here. But what a bother. I hate it. It's always the right leg, you know? It's always the right leg. I don't know why that is, but it is. So I'm actually doing a duck hunting piece right now, and on a full 12 by 12 sheet. The yeah. So if I suffer a stroke in the next few days, that means that blood clot went up here. Although it can hit here, it can hit there, it can blood clots can travel, and I mean, I think my first really big blood clot in my right leg was almost killed me because of a pulmonary embolism. So it was a big clot, and it just kept feeding clots onto my lungs. Oh, it's painful. Hopefully it's far enough down my leg, but it feels like it's about halfway up my leg. As long as it stays about there, I think I'm going to be okay. Stay down there. So, it's amazing. Clots can, they travel, but they don't travel far. So, typically, if you have a clot far enough away from your heart and your brain, you're okay. So, but I got it, I felt it about last night, and really upset my sleeping habits. And but the thing about blood clots is you kind of stay sedentary. Take your blood thinners, aspirin. It's so funny. You go to if you have a stroke and you're already on blood thinners, you know what they give you at the hospital? 2 aspirin. I know. And it just ticks you off. Just makes you mad. When that's what they give you. And you're feeling disoriented and discombobulated. So, okay, now it's done making the image on it. I'd show it to you, but I couldn't get my USB camera up on the screen. But it's cutting out the areas that I want because it'll be a 2-layer piece. And, the big duck on top will be, I'm going to put some color shifting paint up there. It'll look really, really good. And then at the bottom, some water effect. That'll look good. So, I'm sure about, I added some LEDs to some of my pieces. I like it, but I don't think people will go for it. So, that's just one of those things, I think, that I like and something I do for me. But, I don't think people will go for a lit art piece. Who did? What was it that one guy that did light? There was one artist that did that. And he became very famous. So, got my last pot of Black Rifle coffee until my next shipment, which isn't going to come till next week. C'est la vie. I did make some beautiful pieces. One of them's a wedding gift. Absolutely stunning. We did that one yesterday. And a little girl has a birthday, Amelia. So I made some really pretty stuff for her with her picture on it. Because Robert sent me a picture. I also am playing with epoxy on top of, a 3D map. And I don't know if you guys really can't see that, but that thing, I just put a second layer of epoxy on this. So hopefully it'll self-level. But, that the lake is filled with epoxy. And it looks really, really good. It's nice crystal clear. You can see the layers. You can see them right there. So this is a gift. I'm making for Lake of the Woods. And it just is absolutely stunning. So hopefully, they'll put it up in their store and show people, or up in the office. But it'd be nice if people saw it and people can buy these from me. This actually, with epoxy, this is about $100 piece. It's so messy. Epoxy is very, very messy when you do it flat like this. So much easier doing baits. But this, very, very messy. So I'm keeping it perfectly flat because I just put epoxy on and heated it up. When you heat up your epoxy, you remove all the air bubbles and it dries crystal clear. It also allows the self-leveling of it to just go out, and I tried not to get it over the edge, which, it's going to be a little thinner around the edges, but that's all right. It is absolutely, looks like I did a pretty good job on the second coat. And you got to put multi-coats on stuff like this, which is, not what I'm used to. But I really do love the way the lake turned out. Real, real pretty. I mean, you can kind of see it there, the lake. So anyway, this is one of the owners of Lake of the Woods wanted one. I had already sold one. But yeah, that's $100 piece. And the owl. Oh, yeah, I mean, the owl. Do I have a picture of the owl? I do not. Let me show you this owl I did. Absolutely. I'm really proud of this thing. And it is just, it came out so pretty. You wonder if anybody's going to want it. This too is $100 piece. Let's see. Let's get this over. There it is. So this is a 9-layer piece, all wood, and it is it's just, it came out great. Picking colors is one of those things that the artist chooses. The colors I put on this are pearls, so the picture really doesn't do it justice. It is it's just so darn pretty is what it is. You would absolutely display this with pride, and hopefully somebody will like it as much as I do. And if they pay $100, they're going to like it, because who would pay $100 for a piece that they don't like? It'll be a beautiful gift for somebody. And $100 really doesn't go a long ways anymore. But I'm going to have another craft sale tomorrow if I don't have a stroke. If I'm out of the hospital, I have a craft sale tomorrow. If I'm in the hospital, I can't have a craft sale. It's just the way it is. These DVTs, deep vein thrombosis, those are the clots that you worry about. It's not the superficial clots. Those you don't really worry about, but DVTs you do. And so basically I kind of stay sedentary, and sort of kick back, do stuff like this. But it's, try not to, go upstairs too much. Hustle. How you doing, buddy? Howdy back. So this is my latest piece. Actually, it's not my latest piece. That's just a piece that I'm really, really proud of. The latest piece is the lake, and I'm using epoxy to coat it and to fill the lake. So it's drying right now, so I can't make it unflat. But this right here is my local lake, Lake of the Woods, and it's a lake I fish in 99% of the time. And I am on permanent staff there because I do the fishing events there, and it came out real nice. I mean, I know you can just see the shimmer. You can see the water, and you can see sort of the layers. And I filled the lake with epoxy and then coated the top of it, so it's real shiny and glistening. And I heated it up in order to eliminate the bubbles. Although there's a few bubbles in the lake, which realism, but not bad. The lake itself, most of the lake is just crystal clear. And that's really kind of the way the lake is. It is a very clear lake. We usually have about 12 feet of visibility, clarity in the lake. So it turned out really good. This is a gift for one of the owners. But he saw one I made, and it sold. So told George, you're a little late. And thank you, Hustle. Thank you. I'm doing a duck hunting one right now in the engraver. It's doing the cuts right now. It'll finish here in a few minutes. And what I'll do is I'll take a back panel, and then I'll paint the water on the bottom, and then sort of, because it's a mallard. Mallards have a lot of color shifting iridescence in them, so I'm going to put that in the body and the head of this on the second layer. And so when you see it, you're going to see the silhouette, but you're also going to see the colors of a mallard. So it's going to look I think it's going to look really good. We have a lot of duck hunters around here. We got a lot of hunters around here. I mean, these guys hunt bear, they hunt deer, elk. I mean, a lot of guns in Klamath Falls, Oregon. It is an open carry state, so you always see people with guns in this state. I don't know anything about guns. I mean, I never took up hunting. Never. I mean, I'm 60 years old, never took up hunting. Don't know much about guns at all, except there's a trigger and something very fast and powerful comes out of the nozzle or the barrel. Well, whatever. I don't know anything about it. And the last time I shot a gun was a 30-06, and I was 15 years old, 14, and it knocked me on my butt. We were at a target range, in Lompoc, in my hometown. But anyway, that's the last time. That's the most powerful thing I ever shot, and I was not ready for the recoil on that. Although I was heavily warmed. But anyway, that's and I've got. Oh, this is a really cool piece. Try not to move too much. This is a really cool piece. Now, my wife did not see what this piece was until this morning. But I love this piece. And because I love hidden images. So I don't know if you see two wolves, but there are two wolves here. So there's a positive image and a negative image. So you can see that second wolf. That's where my eyes are. It is a really cool image. I love this piece. So you'll hang this up, and put it on your wall. And it's got two wolves. The black one, and then the color of the wall will be peeking through for the second wolf. But I love stuff like this. This is kind of me, you know. When I do my art, although I like realism too, but I like hiding messages in it, you know, images. So if you saw it years later, you said, "Well, I never noticed that." That's kind of what I like in my art, or to see a story in there that will change with your life. It's sort of like reading the Bible. People ask me why I read the Bible all the time. It's because my life changes, so I get something different out of it every time. Art is like that. Art will change with our life. It usually has a story, and as our life changes, we have different stories. And so that's why I enjoy art so much. But I love that. That's pretty cool. Simple, too. Really simple. Um, and then I've got, like I said, I got these really cute things for a young lady who's having a birthday. And a beautiful wedding present. Oh, it's gorgeous. I have a gorgeous wedding present for somebody. I mean, it just turned out. It's one of my favorite. In fact, my wife says, you know, she says it's, you know, she thought it was beautiful too. So she actually paid, you know, she's been paying me compliments lately. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she knows I'm going to have a stroke. So we'll see. I have strokes, so it's like I survive everything, so I don't worry about it. Like I said, even with the stroke, they just give me 2 aspirins in the hospital and monitor me. But they can't do anything. That is really one of the most frustrating things. I've suffered 100 strokes in the last 10 years. I mean, I used to have strokes 3 times a week. Now I have a stroke once a year, 2 times a year. And so we've controlled it with medications and blood thinners. But we really didn't know what was going on right at the very beginning of my 50s. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and blood clots started forming bigger, and that's what paralyzed me. And it's just, you know, what can you do? 2 aspirins and call me in the morning. Therapy if it's too hard. I still have this big clot in my brain, but blood vessels grew around it, cocooned it, and reestablished blood pathways. It took time, but I got it. I got blood up there. Not much, but you know, it's working. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I can't really. I could take my precautions, being sedentary. You know, try not to move my leg much, and you know, just kick back a bit, get fatter, I guess. But watching this laser do its thing right here. Like I said, I tried to put the camera up there, my laser camera, because there is a camera inside the box. But for some reason it didn't pop up. I've been working on my computer here, and I posted that video the other day about my frustration about my computer. So it's supposed to come today, the parts, but it's not, because yeah, I see where they're at. It'll come maybe day after tomorrow, Saturday. But so once I get the parts, you know, I'll be able to get all the lights going on here and get a mouse that actually works better than this thing, and then expand my USB slots. Because, you know, with 2 monitors, 4 cameras, and then peripheral equipment, I've pretty much loaded up my motherboard slots and my cases slots. So I needed to add more USB and C slots. And, you know, that's just a card. You know, $30 card, it just pops in, and 2 minutes later you got more slots. It's actually really, really simple. Building a computer, when I used to build computers in the 80s, I know. And, you know, back when, you know, it was just an XT processor, and and then it went to a CX processor, then a DX processor, and then we went from DX to Pentium, and we did that like all within a year. It was just crazy technology back then, where it would get antiquated in like 2 months. And so, really nice that things slowed down. Although gaming, for those people that like to game, these games are just crazy. They're way ahead of the technology. So the technology, I mean, you pay $5,000 for a GPU, like a 4090 or a 5090 coming out. It's a $5,000 GPU, graphics card, and it's massive. And still doesn't do everything the game wants. A lot of people want 4K, gaming, and which is crazy. I'm happy with 1080p, but my GTX 4060 Ti is still better than most cards out on the market. And the Ti has more CUDA cores, and because I use my computer not really for gaming, I use it with computer design, graphic design in mind, even 3D modeling. That I create 3D models. It's all about using CUDA cores in these things, and CUDA cores are a way that certain programs, like modeling programs, allow you to multitask and have more fluidity and more real-time control. And so it is really a nice card. That's why I bought it. Maybe, it's interesting. This laser is just getting its workout. It's going probably about 10 hours a day, this laser. So I see myself next year adding a second laser, but I'm going to have to expand this room and create maybe its own laser room in my basement for just laser engraving and cutting. So I'll probably do that and get a bigger laser, something that does bigger than 12 by 12. Actually, this thing I think does 12 by 14, but it's the artist in me, I want to do bigger stuff, and it's getting there. It's making some of the final cuts right now. We'll pull it up in in a few minutes, show you what it did. It's a duck hunting scene, sort of. It's actually real pretty. I hope it looks good. Inside the case, you got to have an enclosed case with the laser cutting. So even a bigger one, if I buy a $1,200 laser, or $1,500 laser, it's just going. I'm just going to have to sell more stuff to do it. But it's really a beautiful. I want to do big stuff with it. And look, it finished. Let's move my laser out of the way. Now, this will be interesting. I know it. Now, when you do take this out, there's a lot of detail stuff I have to do to this. So this is the image. Oh, it's a stupid camera. That's the image. But I did do some cutouts on here, and you just gotta sort of use an X-Acto knife, sort of help release some of these pieces. And even though they're cut through, sometimes for some reason it doesn't cut all the way through. In certain area, you use an X-Acto knife to help it along a bit. we'll just pop these out. And work on that. This is the water, so when I paint the second panel, this will be a dark blue. At least that's what I have in my head, is a dark blue down here. You know, for the most part, it's the hunter that takes focus. So I don't want to eclipse the hunter with a bunch of bright colors. I want the hunter to stand out because he's a silhouette. And we also, because there's a little bit of a burn to it, take some tissue and some isopropyl alcohol, and we are going to use this alcohol to sort of clean this up. And it takes those, sort of that smokiness off of it to give it a nice clean line. So you can see, even though the laser cutter does a really good job, sometimes I overpower it because I only want to do one pass on it when I cut, and then you get this sort of smokiness in it. And more isopropyl. Got to sort of clean off the duck. Okay, let's get the top part of the duck done. Oh, that's beautiful. Came out really good. There's a lot of detail in this duck, and because of the feathers. So when you push this out, you really don't want to break, the feathers. You'll see it in a second. So, but you can see right up here, this is actually really, it's just the way this camera is. I like the detail of the camera, I don't like this effect. But you can see, the duck, and then down here is going to be the water effect. But when I paint, the mallard's really going, with some color shifting iridescence, we'll get that in there. But you can see these are all feather quills right here. Really, really fine. And look, it turned out really good. So we're going to clean this up a little bit more with some more isopropyl. Yeah, basically it's just alcohol, Yeah. If you ever get a cut, isopropyl's good for it. Hurts a little. and just clean it up. A little bit of alcohol. This is basswood. Just seems to fit me since I'm a bass fisherman. But yeah, this is basswood. This is an 1/8 inch. Now I do have 1/4 inch. You could use that as a backing on here, the 1/4 inch. Give it a really good backing. Looks really good, guys. Looks really good. Little piece right there I missed. That looks really good. That looks really good. Yeah, I can't cut. My machine will not cut 1/4 inch basswood. I didn't know, but it was on sale, so I got some. And I wanted to see, you know, this stuff is 1/4 inch, and you just can't. My machine's not strong enough for cutting this baby. Can etch it, but it won't be able to cut it. I tried. But it was on sale for half off, and I said, oh, we got to get that. All right. Doesn't match it. That's the problem. That's all right. I don't think anybody's going to worry about that too much. So I have to paint it, but you can see where the cutouts are. There it is. So when I paint it, it'll look really pretty. And then we're going to spray epoxy this. We're not going to do the liquid epoxy on it. Although, it might be interesting to just take some liquid epoxy and just do the water for a shimmer effect. You know, sort of it's more, so the water looks more vibrant. I might do that. You know, now that I've done the cut and the etching, now my imagination sort of works on it and says, okay, what do I want to do with this piece? And you know, the mallards are so beautiful. They really are one of the prettier ducks, besides a wood duck. Wood ducks are the coolest looking duck. You know, the cedar waxwing is a songbird, and it's sort of like the wood duck of songbirds. It's just perfectly detailed. I like that idea. I like the idea of putting an epoxy down in the water, and so it'll look wet down there. I like that idea. That's a good idea. I won't do it on the bird, because nobody wants a wet bird, you know. I don't want a wet-looking bird. But the bird, the mallard, you know, I do have some beautiful color-shifting paint that I can use in there. And, you know, they have a blue-green, and so we're going to have a color-shifting blue-green on the mallard. And then it'll just look, and the water will look wet. And then we'll spray epoxy the entire front, 2 coats, and get that to sort of darken the etch on it. And you know, epoxy's going to darken the etch, and that'll look really good. Yeah, I like that. And you know, this piece will run about $50 when it's all said and done, depending. You know, all my pieces are very affordable. You know, I mean, if you go online to Etsy and you ask for like a 3D map, like the Lake of the Woods one, it's going to be $100 easy. To do something like this, it'll be $100 also. So it's a so basically, I'm a pretty affordable guy. This thing right here run hundreds. I mean, there's a lot of work. I mean, that thing takes a lot of work. 15 hours it took me to make that. 15 hours to make that one. Yeah, we're going to do, this will be really good. So, all right, I like that. I like that a lot. This is going to be a fun one when it's all said and done. So I got to go into my computer. We're going to choose something else. That turned out really good, so I'm going to save this file. Duck Hunter. 2-layer. And that file is now saved. So now I'm going to go in and we're going to find. See, I have to think about what's going to sell. Cats sell. Okay. I want to do some panels. I want to do some panels. Multi-panels, like a diptych or so. Now, I enjoy stuff like that a lot. And again, I like I really enjoy art. And there's this one piece right here. We're going to put some wood in, and then I'll take a picture of the wood to make sure everything's centered right. Another great thing about having a camera is that you can basically take a picture of your layout, make sure everything lines up, so when you frame it, it looks really, really good. I got my heated blanket. It's cold down here. Plus, heat is good for thrombosis. So we're going to put that there. I'm going to take a picture, make sure my overlay we're centered. Now, this particular piece is not going to be real big. Total, it'll be about 12 by 12. But it's again, it's a diptych, 2 pieces, and let's see, what do we got? We're going to do a nice cut, good cut. Set my power and my speed. Bring my laser back home and then do a frame on it. I'm using the same thickness of wood as my last one, so I really don't have to refocus it. And focusing's pretty easy. And I'm just making sure that it looks real good. And look at a preview. Oh, dang it. That will not cut it. Always make sure that your settings are right. So this is actually going to take 1 hour and 40 minutes of actual cutting. It's basically an underwater scene, is what it is. And lots of cutouts. I'm just looking. I'm going to now to make sure that this image that I made cuts out right, I go into the program. I do a fill for a preview. So everything that's um, black is what's going to be staying on the panel. Everything that's white will be a cutout. I know it's weird because you think the other way around, but when you're dealing with graphics and engraving and cutouts, you got to think, in a negative space. And so I'm looking at this, making sure I have no open areas. It's going to cut out really well. There's a lot of detail in this. This underwater scene. And I think, are good to go. Boom. And there it goes. And it's off and running again. So, pretty cool. So, now this is, I love, I was born and raised on in an ocean community in California, Santa Barbara County. I mean, it's what we did. And we were always at the beach. We rode our bikes, our skateboards, went to the beach. That and solving. And so we, I actually wanted to be a marine biologist growing up, but got sidetracked in business. And then I found out that I was a pretty good salesman. And just about every billionaire is a salesman. They just are. And I became a salesman. And then I started training professional salespeople. And then I ran sales organizations. And let's make sure this is, one pass. Good. All right, good. And then I always tell my kids, careers find you. They usually do. If you set out wanting a career, you'll probably be unhappy because it's not in reality, it's not what you expected it to be. You may do it, but you're not going to be as fulfilled as when a career finds you. When a career finds you, you fall into it, and you're in that, you fit in the mold. And so I tell people, don't worry about what you're going to do in life. Work at setting a good foundation in life with work ethics and knowledge, and life will find you. And it does. It just does. Don't ask me. Don't hide from life. Get out there in the workforce. Do stuff. And I don't care if it's a dishwasher or fast food or whatever. Just get out there and do stuff. And your career will find you. You might be a recruiter that, gets a burger one day and you help them at the counter. And they see something in you that you do not see. And there you go. And that's what kind of happened to me. I was working in a photo store, photography store, back in the 80s. And a new middle to high-end electronics company was coming to town, opening up. And they found me. And they first pitched me the idea of working for them, and I had a great job. I got to fish whenever I wanted. The owners were avid fishermen, and I said no. But they didn't give up. Misty was the recruiter, and absolute brilliant woman. So Misty comes into my store again, and she goes, Mike, you really need to come and talk to our staff. And um, you don't have to say yes. Just come in. They were doing recruiting and training and stuff like that at a hotel in that town. And I said, all right, all right. So on the third time I saw her, it was at the recruiting station in the Holiday Inn or whatever it was. And she asked me, this was back in the 80s, okay, all right? And she goes, so how much do you make now? And I said, well, I make about $1,800 a month. And, I think of the 80s, $1,800 a month, it was a good living. I was happy with it. And she started laughing. She laughed. She laughed at my income, literally. She laughed at my income. she goes, she goes, Mike, you're not getting paid much. I go, feels good. I pay my bills. My wife and I, we're happy. She goes, you will make so much more than that here. That you will be shocked at the difference. And it was a commission sales position. And I was a little afraid of commission, don't sell, don't earn. They have a guaranteed base, but if you hit that too often, they fire you. So I was still hesitating. She goes, well, let me introduce you to the manager of this new store. So I met, what was his name? Pat? His name was Pat, but I can't remember. He used to play basketball for a big guy, tall guy. He used to play collegiate basketball. And I met Pat, and he seemed like a real nice guy. But I still wasn't saying yes. And so she introduced me to the vice president of the company, Ken Weller. And this was a company called The Good Guys. And so I says, and they all saw something in me that I didn't see. And this is how careers pick you, because you are blind to your own abilities. Other people see them. You don't. Unless you're cocky. And I wasn't. So they all saw something. I says, look, I have a priority in life. And so on the application, I go, you guys have to sign my application. I go, and this is, oh, thank you, Richard. I love that owl. And so on the application, I says, faith is first, family is second, and work is third. This faith, family, and work. I go, if you guys agree to that priority in my life, and you have to sign this application too, I will work for you. And so they did. I actually had the manager, the vice president, and the recruiter sign my application. They really wanted me. And I worked for Good Guys till their demise, because they were bought. And for 16 years, I worked for them. And they taught me so much. My first check was $10,000. And remember, I was making $1,800 a month. They took out $3,600, twice my previous income, in just taxes. That is sick. I felt violated. It was like $3,600 in taxes, although, still a pretty good check. And so she was right. Again, they saw something in me that I didn't see, which was, the ability to connect with people and to sell. And I became one of their better salesmen in the company and moved up the ranks in time when I wanted to. became store manager and a fixer in the company. And basically, I took underperforming stores and improved their performance, took them from the red to the black, and in profitability. And it was the best career choice and probably the best company I could ever imagine somebody working for. I could tell you stories about good guys that they literally were the good guys. They cared. And you don't run across caring companies in the workforce anymore. You just don't. But I will tell you that they lived up to their name, and until the acquisition, and then it just fell apart. It just fell apart. You know, and when you see a company acquire another company that's that good, and they don't understand its values, and then they take their values, which are useless, they're valueless, and then they throw them in, you know that you're just going to fail. You know, the company was going to fail. And well, it's just the way it was. It's a shame because good guys would still be around today if they were never sold. And it just was a shame because there are good guys that, you know, veterans, good guys like me that still talk to each other. We were a family, and we have a strong bond through that company. It's just weird, but it's unusual and unrepeatable. It's unrepeatable. I tried to find another company like that, even Apple, back then, and I tried to find another. So I just made my own company, several actually, and they were great decisions. The brick and mortar, not so much, but the marketing company and stuff like that. I mean, I can go into a room and talk to the governor of Alabama like I'm an old friend of his and just BS it and just have fun, tell jokes, and get on the same page. I could talk to the leader of, a country, same way. Still respectful, of course, but I treat everybody the same, male, female, doesn't really matter. High, low, in station, a physicist, a rocket scientist at NASA, or a physicist in San Francisco. I mean, literally, I can hold my own, but at the same time, I can make people laugh. And when you make a person laugh, it frees them up. I used to tell my salespeople, make a friend first, then make the sale. But don't try to sell them before you make a friend. So you need to break down those barriers, those walls. And whenever I did that, even in, it's strange, different cultures are different ways. And, I'd be selling in Hong Kong or in Shenzhen or in Taiwan. And you have to come across differently. I can't be my flamboyant, bombastic self in Asia. I could do that in New York and Boston and Huntsville and stuff like that, but I can't do that in foreign countries per se. I mean, in Europe I could be, but not in Asia. So I had to change, and it worked. It worked. Good guys. Misty Carter, that was her last name. Misty Carter, absolute genius of a woman. And Misty saw something in people that she was good at reading talent. And in those days, when it was the height of growth in the good guys, it was a rare commodity And Misty Carter was so good. I'm not even sure. I wonder if Misty Carter's even still around nowadays. She she was amazing. Let me see. Misty Carter. That's not her. That can't be her. I mean, she's a little older than I am. Misty is. So, but she's, she was. We were all just, amazing, camaraderie. And there was a camaraderie. And Misty was a recruiter, and she was so good. She's probably passed away nowadays. I don't know. I hope not. I always want them to have. Let me see if I can put in there like good guys. Because she would definitely have it on her resume because she was so darn good. That's Misty Joyner. Well, I don't know. I just thought I'd look it up, see if she was there, but she'd remember me. I'm kind of hard to forget, I guess. But it was so funny. We opened that store, and then I think it was about 7 months later, I opened another store, and they had a strange culture, very Japanese-esque, in training and mindset and stuff like that. I mean, very loud, boisterous. I kind of fit right in. I'm loud and boisterous. What the heck is this thing doing? Oh, I have it on fill. Dang it. I don't want it on fill. I want it on line. All right. Hit stop. This thing was going to take forever to do that. Man. Yeah. Hour 40 now. That thing probably was going to time out at about 10 hours or something. There we go. All right. All right. It's funny how a button makes all the difference. We'll see how it turns out. Basically, what it was doing, it was burning out the cut instead of cutting it. And so now it's cutting it. So kind of a bummer that I didn't see that. I look at Phil to see what, to see the image, to see what the finish is going to look like. And I forgot to flip it back to line. So now it's cutting. Now it's actually going to start making the images. Very cool. It's more fun to watch it while it cuts. Because when it's doing a fill, it's just very, very detailed. Your DPI is, dots per inch are very, very small. But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully this turns out. If anything, one panel won't. The other panel will. So we'll see. Oh well. I'm going to have, like I said, unless I get hospitalized, I'll be doing another event tomorrow morning. And we'll hopefully sell this guy. It's a gorgeous piece. I mean, it's a gorgeous piece. $100. It's a real pretty piece. A lot of work, and $100 is a steal for that. That's a $200 or $300 item. And we'll see if we can get some more bookmarks and stuff like that. This hunting one, I'll finish this today, and this will be for sale tomorrow. And that wolf one, and I do have some more stuff over here that some of it is contracted, so that I probably won't put that 1/4 inch on. Probably not the 1/4 inch on there. This is crazy expensive. 1/4 inch wood. We'll just put another 1/8 inch and it'll be a 1/4 inch thick. It'll work just fine. But this wood comes so beautifully packed. I mean, phew. This packing. It was a nice box. Probably use that box for sending Robert his stuff. No, probably do that. Because I got his stuff made. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do there. Get it nicely packed. I just love doing this stuff, though. This piece this one that I'm doing right now is very artistic. Almost in a surreal design. This underwater diptych. And it'll be fun to paint. That's the fun part about this. This one will be really fun to paint. It will be a see-through. I think. Again, at the end, after I make the cuts and make the image, then I look at it and I say, okay, what can I do with this? Paint-wise, and do I want a multi-layer approach to it? I might. I don't know. I might do some really fun things. Maybe 3 or 4 layers on this. I haven't really designed it that way. But again, the more I think about it as I look at a piece, it starts to look differently in my head. And when I look at a piece, I want to see depth, but I also want to see color, vibrance sometimes, or something as simple as these wolves. Something as simple as these wolves. And the wolves are simple because it's a positive and a negative image of wolves, and that's enough for that image to just be interesting. Sometimes I want an image to be more than just interesting. I want it to be vibrant. I want it color. I want some life. I want people to see, like in this owl, a color that they didn't see before, detail that they didn't see before. So, the owl continues to grow in a person's mind. And so when I create a piece, I want it to renew itself with a person. If you had this hanging on your wall at home, your friends would come over. They'd go, "Oh, what a beautiful piece," and they'll look at it for a few minutes. But then a month later, you'll invite the same friend over, and they'll just look at it again and say, "Oh, I didn't notice this last time." That is the magic of good art, for me. And then again, art can tell a story, and some of my art does tell a story. My favorite piece hanging up on my wall here tells a very significant story about me. But unless you know me and what I've gone through, you probably wouldn't see the story, but you will see a story about you in that. piece. And that's what's so much fun about art. Art is interpretive, and depending on the person, they can see the truth in a piece of art. And that could be disturbing to some. When they see something disturbing in a piece of art, that disturbs them. And so, you know, hopefully they'll fix that, in themselves, if it disturbs them too much. But art itself is, a lot of people, we say it's interpretive, but art is, it's like a world of discovery. It's what it's like. You discover yourself and others in art. You might even be surprised at how, what you discover in yourself. I know I am when I make a piece. And then I look at it at the end, like this owl. I was like, wow, I've never done a piece like that before. And then why did I choose certain colors, and why did I choose those finishes on it? Those all have a significance with me. And then when you see it, you'll see these darker colors down the middle of it. You'll see some bright, vibrant colors like the blue or the natural wood, in order to create contrast. The triangle shapes underneath, creating the great horn, owl's head, stuff like that. It's almost like a paisley design in the blue section, and which is very old-fashioned, but it's classy at the same time. So this will be, this ocean, the underwater ocean piece will be very, very interesting. And what I do with it will be even more interesting. It probably won't get done before tomorrow, because as I see it cutting the images, I'm seeing what I can do with this. And it is a diptych, so it's two pieces, 2 panels. So it's going to be, 2 feet long. And sometimes I can combine mediums, like acrylic in there, or even using epoxy, to create that water effect, like I did with the Lake of the Woods. This will be interesting to what I do with this piece, because the plants, the shells, it'll be. I mean, thing is, when I do too much with it, I increase its value, but at the same time, it's kind of like customizing a car. Never ever customize a car if you can avoid it. I mean, sometimes you have to do it, but if you actually customize an old car, you're not going to get your money's worth out of it at all, because you did it for you. You didn't do it for anybody else. And so you'd have to find your mirror image out in the marketplace when you resell it. You're not going to find that. People do not want, a hot rod, typically. They want a classic car restored to look like that classic car. But I remember that I was watching this one show. They would steal somebody's car and restore it. Forgot the name of the show. But Chip Foose was the designer. And they stole this guy's 70 Challenger. Or was it a Cuda? Yeah, it was a Cuda. Barracuda. It was 1970 Barracuda. One thing about Mopar, guys, we don't like changes. We want our car to look like a 70, a 69 Charger, 70, Barracuda. We don't want you to screw with it. Well, Chip Foose is a custom car designer, and they stole this guy, and he knew he was in dangerous territory. He knew. You don't screw with Mopar. Mopar is Mopar. And he took this car and he changed it. He even took the fuel cap off. Now, I will tell you that the fuel cap is a trademark. All right? Even the new Chargers and Cudas have the fuel cap. You don't screw with it. He took it off. He straightened up the lines. He took the door handles off. I mean, it was horrible. In the end, it was a Chip Foose car, but it wasn't a Barracuda. The guy, they revealed it to the guy, and his heart sank. He pretended to like it, but he sold it quick. Like I said, you don't do too much. Sometimes simple sells. And, this owl is complicated. So it took 15 hours to make. And it's, each layer became more and more intricate, more fragile, harder to glue together, clamp it without breaking it. Stuff like that. This is going to be interesting. I think I'm going to go with all, black base and then make it a gold to green color shift on the layer. And then make a second layer of a deep dark blue on it. I think. We'll see after it gets all cut. And then my brain will start superimposing colors on it and seeing what I can do with it. But I think the first layer is going to be a gold-green, shift. Because, those are colors that you find down there in the ocean. And then the back panel will be sort of the darker blue. And I might epoxy it in order to give it that shine behind it, sort of give it a contrast between the flat and the gloss. And when you do that, when you change, a flat paint to a gloss paint and behind it, it gives it depth. It gives it a lot of depth. And now you can do it the other way around, where you put the gloss up front and then the flat in the back. But I think in this one's case, I think I'm going to go gloss in the back and see, just to give it some more of that 3D effect. When light hits it, the light will reflect off of the back panel, and kind of what that does, it backlights the flat area, and it'll give it, that coolness, that viewpoint. It'll be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of cuts. It takes an hour and 40 minutes to make all these cuts. It's a lot of cuts in this one. Very, very, look at this piece. See that? That's feathers, off of that duck. It looks like a comb. This one looks like a comb. But in fact, it kind of is. It's a comb. I made a comb. Yeah. Beard comb. Right there, baby. It's a beard comb. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I'm looking better by the second. Looking better by the second. Look at that. I know. Ooh. I cut a comb. Yeah, you can actually make products with this. I mean, it's pretty cool. Huh. I didn't even know I did that. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. It's 11 o'clock my time. Richard, it's 7 o'clock your time. 8-hour difference, right? I want to thank you guys for stopping in, saying hey. Hopefully I can stay out of the hospital today. You know, this blood clot hopefully does not travel. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's about halfway up my leg, which is right into that. You can't do nothing at the hospital, so don't worry about it. So, it's snowing today. Got good snow on the ground. So, snowed last night. Yep. Good night, my friend. Good night. Give my love to the family, your wife, and Rich and Leo when you see them. Take care, guys. Let's see.